Welcome back, people. This is Charlemagne on Over and Out Veterans Podcast. Hey, while I got your attention, make sure you follow me on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Follow, leave a comment. Hey, let me know how I need to improve. If you got questions for my guests, make sure you leave the question in the comments. I'm quite sure they'll respond. Today, I got a partner of mine. Met him. God, look, I don't want to tell our age, bro, but we met a few years ago. We was working at the hospital together. Working in the hospital together, man. I had got out of the military, and I was working there and working in supply in the emergency room, and you was in law enforcement there, and that's how we linked up. But today, people, we have a Navy vet, Mr. Anthony Lee. How you doing, Mr. Lee?
Fine, doing fine today.
Good. Tell us a little bit about yourself, brother.
A little bit about myself. Been in law enforcement 20 plus years. Didn't stumble into it. Actually, I always wanted to be a law enforcement officer since I was 6.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, thought I was crazy, but I was in a play. I was a cop, and from then on, it was in me.
Okay.
I'm a police lieutenant at the hospital. I think we met. I was a sergeant there. But I got 13 people under me, 2 telecommunicators, 6 officers, a sergeant, and 3 public safety officers.
Cool. That's pretty cool, man.
Much my duties, they management, and that's pretty much it.
Got you. So, we going. You mentioned you was 6, and when you wanted to be in law enforcement, but you went to the military. How'd you end up in the Navy? And what year did you go? Did you go right out of high school also?
Right out of high school.
Okay.
Again, when you're young, and that's another thing, not having, my father didn't stay in the household. So I was raised by a single mother. I'm the oldest. Siblings with your sisters. I'm out there being grown. Got my girlfriend at the time pregnant. So at that point, not wanting to create that cycle, I was like, hey, I got to do something for the military. I know that's going to be steady paycheck, taking care. So that's what guided me to the military. Joined delayed entry program at 17, ended up going when I turned 18, and was a good stint. I tell people, at the end of the day, it was pretty much where I was needed to go. It was a good decision. It gave me some structure, gave me some discipline, a lot of discipline, because I was wild, so to speak.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But it calmed me down. It put me into that, that mindset of, in order to get places, you have to know how to follow if you want to lose, so to speak. So that's how I got it. That's how I went to the military.
Got you. Yeah, that's a good story right there, And like I said, some people, I tell people all the time, man, I say, if you don't have a plan, military is a good plan to start with. So you said you spent, how long did you stay in?
I stayed 3.5. I got a 6-month early out.
Okay.
And I told, I like my son. My son, unfortunately, he ended up going to school. He didn't go the military route. But I tell anybody, if you go or if you went, I regret not doing training. That's just me, because you think about the way these years are going by. 20 years is not long at all. But I did my 4 years, and then I ended up getting out. Ended up getting married and had my 2 kids.
Cool. So what type of, when you was in, what was your, because I was in the Army, we call it MOS, but I know my daughter was in the Navy. Y'all call them, what is it, grades, or, what was your job in the military?
Yeah, my job in the military was, initially, it was going to be air traffic controller. Again, 18 was getting in. I went to A school in Millington. Again, you partying, and I was like, hold up, wait a minute, let me do this. So I was an aviation boatswain mate. I started out, and my whole tour was on the USS Wasp LHD-1. And what we did, that consisted of when we were out to sea, it's called chalking and chaining. You would tie down aircraft. Pretty much, we're launching them. The guys that you've seen, like in those cool old school Navy commercials where you had the planes going off, you had the guy with the yellow shirt, then you had the guys with the blue shirts, you got the red shirts. I would have been one of the guys with the blue or the yellow shirt. And pretty much that was an experience. And that again, that job, well, my job rating right there, it was good. That's why I needed to be it. I mean, again, I met some great people and learned a lot of stuff.
Now, where you originally from, Anthony?
Originally from Washington, North Carolina. Little Washington.
Little Washington. Hey, look, I wanted you to put it out there so you can put it out there for the people. But coming from small town, Little Washington, and that ship probably had as many people on the ship as it did in Little Washington. Yeah. How did that shift your mindset about life, and leaving a small town and then just going to this ship, and it's like it's a whole city within itself? How did that affect you as a young man?
As a young man, it showed me that, hey, life is bigger than Little Washington. I tell my kids all the time, I was fortunate that I did leave, because a lot of people, you think about it, they can be from Greenville, Robinsonville, these small Williamson, they don't ever leave. They stay here in North Carolina. They feel like, because I went to Norfolk, or I went to Kings Dominion, I went somewhere. That was different. Like I said, adjusting from, like you said, a town that pretty much, when I went to the ship, that ship had just as many people on it, if not more. That was an adjustment. And again, I'm 18 years old amongst, I had veterans people that had been there in the military already at that point, 10 plus years. It humbled me. I sat back, but the thing is, I sat back and I talked to the older guys. I learned, again, that following, to be great or to succeed, you got to know how to follow. And I kind of clung to the older guys and got my knowledge from them, which that's what I did when I was growing up. Again, being that my dad wasn't there in the household. I mean, I seen him, and stayed with him, but I kind of gravitated toward the older guys because they kind of, to me, they were the guidance. So that's what I did. And that's how I adjusted.
Right. Yeah, that community support, man. And sometimes, I always do one of my corn phrases. Sometimes people see more in you than you see in yourself. And I tell a lot of people that, and especially when I'm talking to the kids, the youth, and like they don't see it sometimes because, like I said, their attention span is so short, and then they have all these outside influences. They're like they can't visualize certain things. So I always be like, you could do this, you could do that, and then sometimes they'd be like, all right, and then other times they fall back into where they was at. You know what I mean? But like I said, we gotta still give back now because we the OGs now. You know what I'm saying?
And also, when I joined, it was more of a thing when I joined too. Like I said, not telling my age, but when we grew up, it was, if you were a male figure in that household, you were looked at as, when you went out, you were to help out. You gonna send money back. You're gonna be the savior for the family. So pretty much, that's what ended up happening. I went, and that was when I got there, I already had that mission. When I get there, my little sisters, make sure they got school clothes. Because when I joined, I had one sister that was a year behind me, another one that was 5 years behind me. But pretty much that was the thing. And my mom, I want to make sure you ain't got to work that hard. I'm gonna send money back to help out. Because again, still, even me coming from there, my mom was we lived in low income housing. Right. Probably until I got in the military. Wow. We moved out when I turned 19 because I helped my mom get out. So,
wow, that's a testament to you, man. Like, I'm quite sure she appreciate that. Now let's push forward a little bit. So you did it 3.5 years, and you know, you like you said, sometimes things look different when you're in the midst of things, you know, and then they what they say, hindsight 2020, you know what I'm saying? Hindsight 20, and like I said, you know, after you went in, then you got out, did you have that honeymoon phase where you like, man, I need to go back in? Did you have that transition period?
I had that because again, I had it afterwards. I had it maybe 3 or 4 years afterwards
Got
because
you.
in my mind, my whole thing was I had that young man's mentality, like I tell people. Whereas now I have that grown man mentality. Then it was, ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. I'm tired of people telling me what to do.
Right.
You know, not knowing that, hey, somebody gonna tell you what to do all your life.
Bingo.
Somebody gonna tell you what to do. You
Yeah.
go home and you know, even when we get to it, running my own business, people
Yeah.
still tell you what to do. You know, so that was I had that phase after maybe like 3 years of being out. Man, I wish I was back in. Man, I wish I was back in. But at that point, I had my son. We had my son, and it was like I couldn't see us even going back that way.
Yeah, you got to keep spending that time.
Right.
Yeah,
Leave her
you
by
got
herself.
yeah. Right. Yeah, I feel you on that. You know, and you know, so that transition period. So when you say, hey, I'm gonna go into law enforcement after the military, did you immediately jump into that, or you just kind of
going into law enforcement? What ended up happening was, like I said, I got out so I got out late '95. Immediately jumped into searching for jobs. Me and my girlfriend at the time, which we ended up getting married as soon as I got out. We got married. I was looking for a job. She was working. We ended up conceiving our daughter about 3 or 4 months after we got married. And then the transition went from 95, 96, well, 96, 97, 98, 99. And it wasn't until 2003 that I ended up actually pressing forward to go to school, go to BLET, because I was working. I got comfortable. Again, I tell people, don't get comfortable. Got comfortable, and I started working. Like I said, I worked at an automotive plant, Standardine. I worked there for maybe a year and a half. Left there, I went to ECU. At that point, you know, being from Eastern North Carolina, if you from Little Washington, it was either ECU or the hospital. But then it was PCMA, Pitt County Memorial Hospital. Those two places, you was at the Mecca. You weren't at any of those places. So I went and I worked. I was working for ECU, and I stayed at ECU from 95 or 96 area, 96 until 96, 97, until 2005. And I ended up finishing BLET in 2004. And that's when I first applied for my first law enforcement gig, which was at Little City State.
So you know, since we were a vet, you know, you were allotted GI Bill, certain things. Did you utilize your military benefits to go to school, or you did not?
And I did.
You did.
And I'm gonna tell you, that's why I tell a lot of people, know your benefits. Get with some people that's gonna help. And I'm just like other veterans, and you probably the same thing. You know, any kind of injuries that you receive, you know, you don't get the support. You have to go find it. And that's the thing with the GI Bill. I was young, wasn't thinking about it. You know, when I went and tried to get it, I had just enrolled in college for my first degree, and I was a year off.
Wow.
And I couldn't get it. And I finally started saying, hey, they can get it. You know, and that's why I say you got to have those resources. You got to kind of know, again, like you said, have a plan. And I didn't have a plan. I knew that I wanted to be in law enforcement. So I used my own money to pay for that. Okay. And once I paid for that, it was from November 2000 2003, and I graduated June 2004.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool, man. I like asking the conversation and not to frown upon you, but like you said, I'm glad. Look, I'm gonna use this as a teacher moment because I always tell people, try to search as much as you can, because a lot of times, you that age, and when you see these young guys in the gym, stuff like that, they still wearing their military gear. So I know they transitioning out or whatever, and I'm like, hey, you using this or you apply for your VA benefits, da 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 da. Some of them be like, yeah. Some of them like, no. I'd be like, you could go to school. This one cat, he was paying out of pocket to go to Pitt. He didn't know that he could use his GI Bill, and he post 9/11, and I'm like, that's GI Bill forever now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, it's like you said, sometimes if you don't know, you don't know. But sometimes you have to, ask and humble yourself. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we don't want to humble ourselves.
Closed
Yeah.
mouth don't get fed. You got
Right.
to ask those questions.
Yeah. So all right, so now look, so we building up this timeline here for the listeners. So we high school military transition into the law enforcement. Now, like I said, you in law enforcement kind of heavy. How's your transition, from military? Look, and then you knew the workforce. You like, those assembly lines that standing up, boy, they ain't no joke. And now to law enforcement, how was those transition periods mentally for you? As far as like you said, you're a father now. You got responsibilities. You got a wife. You got all these other things, and then now you went to you almost back into a service job because you went from the military civilian life, then back to a service job. So how did that go mentally for you, those transition periods?
The thing is, it was an easy transition because again, I worked at the university. I was in the print shop. I did deliveries. We did, putting books together, all that stuff. So on deliveries, I met a lot of people out there. So I was already in that type of environment with my first law enforcement job, which was again at a HBCU, a Black university. So I went there. Still, it was the same thing. It wasn't a big transition because I already knew it. I knew the discipline side of it. I knew, hey, put your uniform on, gig lines and all that. You already know the stuff, how to look, shine your boots. That was not, a big transition. Falling into those ranks, knowing that rank, I'm the patrol officer. You got a corporal, sergeant, then my lieutenant, then my chief. Because it was only at the time when I first started, it was only 10 of us working on that campus. So it wasn't a big transition. I think that was a better transition. I transitioned better going into law enforcement than I did when I left the military, transitioning to the civilian world, because a whole lot of things where we do in the military, we had a lot of leeway. We just didn't have it. Going into the civilian world, they was like, we don't do that. We don't do that. What are you talking about?
Right.
I'm like,
you get spoiled getting all those holidays off, right?
Yeah, so it was a lot more work, and then like I said again, I was used to that. If you're not there 15 minutes prior, you're late. That type of thing. I was doing that at my civilian job. They were like, "Why you here so early?" Like, okay,
right.
But the transition from civilian to law enforcement,
Piece of cake, huh?
Piece of cake. It's like I was in the military again, and it was like really like I was almost yearning for that. Like, damn, let me get back, something I know.
Right.
And that's what I did.
Okay.
And it worked out. It worked out.
Right. So how long did you stay down in Elizabeth City?
August 5th, 2005. Well, a little bit before. And I left July 17th, for almost 2 years, right at 2 years.
Okay. So
When I first went there, when I first went there, I talked to the lieutenant and he was running me through. He told me, hey, he said, we're going to hire you. Because then if you didn't have experience, nobody will hire you. He said, but if you give me 2 years, that's all I asked. And we shook on it. And I gave it right to the end. I even gave them 3 week notice.
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, I got the job, I can start, and I could have started right then. I gave him 3 weeks notice.
Right.
I want to talk to the chief. I told him, I said, I appreciate the opportunity, because without that opportunity, I couldn't move on to greater pastures or greener pastures.
Right.
And plus, I was driving an hour and a half one way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Got on at the hospital. And again, I didn't even know they had a long arm.
Mm-hmm.
I was asked, well, why you didn't go to Greenville? Why you didn't go to the sheriff's department? Why you didn't go to, I said, at the end of the day, it's the same thing, the same job.
Mm-hmm.
Even now people say, oh man, you got an easy job. And I always tell them, hey, come out here and work with us. Work with us. Come do a ride along. You worked at the hospital,
Look,
it's
I know.
It's not an easy gig.
No.
And it's a different type of law enforcement.
Exactly.
I tell people we are hospital employees, but we're also law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
The people there, they are patient. We got families. You got high emotions. You got things that happen. And again, if you don't have a cool head, and I credit the military to that aspect of it, being able to go in situations and have that demeanor where you kind of can de-escalate. You kind of sit back. You got that calm face. You got that calm mind. You got the clarity. Whereas you have a lot of people that they don't have that, which I've seen even coming into law enforcement. They don't have the military in the straight school. They don't have that calmness about them. They're ready to. They lose it. You got to have that.
Yeah.
So I credit a lot of that to the military.
Got you. Yeah, man. I salute you guys. I know. Look, shout out to Scrappy. I saw her the other day. She was talking about the gun show. But yeah, we, I was in the emergency room and like you said, just working down there, man, it was just like, you never know what's going to come in through that door at every given moment, and it's like, and it's not like in the civilian world, when you're in law enforcement, you're walking into the situation. In the hospital, the situation is coming to you. Yeah.
You have, but mental health right now.
Right.
Most of the time, you have the municipalities, Greenville, Hitt County, Bethel, Aden. What they're doing is once they commit that individual or they pick somebody up involuntarily for commitment, once they bring them, they do the paperwork and they get admitted to the hospital, they're done.
Right.
The job is off of them. It's on us then. And with everything that's going on, as many we're liable to have at any given time at the emergency department, we liable to have at least 25 to 30 people that's needing that mental health assistance.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, man.
Yeah, like I said, man, I experienced that joint firsthand, and I was like, bruh, I was like, man, like I enjoyed, and that's why I enjoyed working there, because like you said, just that military, that unexpected day that you had in the military, you like sometimes it'd be Groundhog Day, but then other times you don't know what's gonna happen that day. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, hey, we got to go do a mission in, another place, or we about to get deployed somewhere, or, for training or whatever. So, that's what I liked about the fast paced, and then, it kept you on your toes, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it did.
Yeah. So congratulations on your promotion and, being lieutenant and all that good stuff, man. But I know you transitioned now. You having your own business. How long you had your business now?
I had my business since COVID.
Okay.
COVID was part of the push, But the other push was in the industry well, my company with ENC Protective Services, we do all kind of firearms training, seal carry, personal, tactical concealed. I teach you how to practice. I teach you how to basically safe handle your firearm. Children, I teach that. And pretty much the push was hiring for me when I get ready to retire. And then with COVID, with everything that was going on, there was a lot of uncertainty.
Right.
People didn't know what they were as far as jobs. You know, it was a time where, you know, you think about something that you're good at. You think about something that, hey, this is what I want to do. Which again, people don't understand being a business owner is if you pick something that you like, you can always market it. Always. And I think that came from, again, the military side, because when I was in the military, all we talked about was, hey, man, I want to do a business, I want to do this, I want to do that. We always, everybody always think about that entrepreneurship. And really, I tell people to pursue it. You're either going to do one or two things. It's either going to do like you want to do and you're going to succeed, or you're going to like, I don't want to do this, and then you'll do something else. But that was the push for me. Because, like I said, retirement and the way that is just uncertainty with
right.
job.
I call that the great reset, man, because it reset a lot of people mental
mindset.
It reset them, because, like I said, some people had issues doing that. You know, I know suicide rates went up, things of that nature. Especially in our community, the veteran population, suicides went up. But then also on the positive side, a lot of people reinvented themselves, because they're like, hey, we're not out here, we ain't at the office. Hey, we got to figure out how to make some bread. You know what I'm saying?
I do something.
Yeah. But it was a great reset, because a lot of people found things that in themselves that's been there, but they had time to think about it. That was the thing. They had time. They couldn't go nowhere. You can't go to the mall. You can't go hang out at Walmart. Look, you're not going to work all the time. So you had time to be in tune with yourself and like, who am I? A lot of people get so caught up in working, you know, nothing wrong with working. Hey, we got to have a working class. But it's also to have your hobby into a business where you can make some additional income. And I teach I have a program called Passion of Profits through my consulting business. And that's what I do. I was like, hey, let's turn that passion, because like you said, when you're passionate about something, it's easy. It's easy. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to force. And then you know what? Your customers know you're passionate about it, and then they're gonna be more receptive to what you're doing, because they're like, oh, he passionate about it. He know what he's talking about. Hey, I'm going to him. And like, put your name of your business out there one more time for the listener and tell them how to get up with you while we're talking about that.
Yeah, name of business is ENC Protective Services. Website is www.encprotectiveservices. That's altogether.com. You can reach me. My business phone is 252-320-9533. And I've noticed too that this in our community, you know, you have a lot of people, which, you know, not veteran wise, but you have a lot of pretty much our female population. They're getting to the point now where, you know, they want to protect themselves. Or you have a lot of still have single mothers, or you have, you know, single women that have careers, like especially what we at the hospital. You got nurses, you got, you know, people getting off all the time that's by themselves. Once they get off, they're going home to the complex, and you got a lot of travelers. You know, people want to protect themselves. And again, that's why I come in. You know, you want to protect yourself, I'll show you. You know, you with this the new law changed where you don't have to have a permit, get a firearm now. You know, the thing is with that is a lot of people that go and get that firearm and know nothing about it.
Right.
They don't search it. They just say, hey, I got, because it was a fad. hey, I got a firearm.
Right.
I have a gun. You know, that's all well and good, but you need to know how to use it always. And then with that new law change, what I'm encountering now, I'm encountering more people that are getting charged with. So well, we're gonna be a constitutional carry. It's fine if we're gonna be constitutional carry, but you still need to take a class on concealed carry to understand the law,
Right.
to understand, you know, pretty much how to handle that firearm still in a concealed state.
Right.
You know, it's just so many rules that people wouldn't even know.
Right.
That's why it's good to take that class,
yeah.
you know, and get that education. Even myself, like I say, 2 decades of law enforcement experience, I still go through firearms courses on my own, because becoming an instructor, I went to I'm a USCCA certified instructor, also NRA certified instructor. But I mean, you have to know your craft if you want to teach other people.
Right, right. And that's the thing, you know, with you know, and I had a family member got in a situation where they was in the military, going home, but they understand, you know, going through the states, carrying a firearm in certain state, you get stopped or what have you, even though it's
even though it's legal,
it don't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? You just think it's like, oh, I'm just moving, but don't realize how many states, and then depending on what state or district you go to, it might be illegal to have a handgun.
Exactly.
It might be illegal to have certain weapons and have certain ammunition. And then, like you said, once they figure that out, it carries different charges. Each state has their own charge for different things. And so I tell people all the time, I encourage, you know, learning the laws and staying abreast of the laws, and stop trying, you know, like I said, it's good to Google things, but until you fully understand, and a lot of people, you know, don't understand and they don't comprehend certain things. They'll read it, but they don't comprehend it. And then they try to add their own piece to it. And like the military say, you can add to, but can't take away from.
Because again, right here lately, past my last 3 classes, I've trained at least 7 people that has gotten that concealed carry charge, and they had to have concealed carry class. They had to go through a class to show it to their lawyer, so the lawyer can present it to the courts,
right,
so that, you know, they don't get charged. You know, I ain't talking about rinky-dink people. These are professional people.
Right.
You know, that they need it for their profession. You know, that's why I tell everybody, just, you know, don't think just because, you know, hey, I've shot before, and even if you've been shooting for years, me, again, 2 decades, I learn all the time different things. Sometimes it's safer to go ahead and, you know, everybody, oh man, that's such and such. That's that amount of money. Go ahead and spend that money, and get your training, get certified. That way, if something does happen, you're covered. You know, you don't want to get covered up like that.
Yeah, I talked to one of my other buddies in law enforcement, and you know, because he and I had a debate about the concealed versus not, you know, the concealed, and you know, just going through the registration process and all this good stuff. And I was like, I said, is it worth it? You know, I said, you know, because it was coming off the George Floyd situations like that, and a couple of other issues with law enforcement, and gentlemen had got killed. And I was like, is it good for them to know that you have your concealed weapon or not? And we had a little debate, and he was like, well, it's actually good because they know you've been through training of how that everything works. So you should have the knowledge of how everything works. So they approach you a little bit different than you walk upon, and then you got your fire piece on your dashboard or what have you, or they find it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I said, I respect that, and I understand that now.
Yeah, because if like, say for instance, something happened, I'm behind you, I pull you. Mr. Charlemagne. I'm like, he got a CHP. My anxiety level gonna go from here to here. Again, like you just said, because I know you had to go through class, went through a background check, federal, state level, and federal level. No, you're not going to have anything in there. And then with North Carolina, it's a duty to report. So a lot of people forget. Always know that if you have that concealed carry, that you report, hey, I'm a concealed carry permittee in North Carolina. And I tell everybody it's a section in the book where they explain about if you're approached by law enforcement. Again, I tell people, put your hand 10 and 2.
Right.
Fingers widespread on your wheel.
Right.
Nobody can't shoot like this.
Right. Right.
You know, a lot of times, as comfortable as you make people, especially these young officers, and I tell people all the time, I'm in law enforcement, but I know there's a lot of people that are not in tune with our community, that are not in tune with interpersonal skills.
Right.
You know, with us, they like to, you know, be rah, that real rough. And again, you know, you just got to know how to go ahead and, as we say, finesse it, like we always do. Why you bullying me? I said, I always tell people, don't try to have court on the road. Right. You know, do what you got to do. You know, somebody out of pocket complain later. Right. You know.
And like it's that, you know, one of my first songs, live to fight another day.
There you go. Always.
And look, he used to tell guys that when we go out the weekend, he said, hey, I'm a phone call away. He said, but live to fight another day. He's like, because it was talking, you know, we always had an issue with drinking in the military and people drink driving. He was like, I'd rather you call me at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, than me have to pull up to you at the hospital and look at you in the morgue at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
Total sense.
Yeah. And that's the same thing, you know, I tell people now, is like, sometimes it's not, you know, choose your battles, you know, pick your battles.
But you learn that again, that's one thing I will say, I get in the military. It's always, hey, it's a game. Yeah. Just play it.
Right. And that's the thing. And you know, and that's that game right there. I tell a lot of people, man, I said, I hate to use the analogy. I said, but the military is almost like the largest game in the world. Yeah. I said, basic training is just your initiation. And then after that, I said, hey, you still in a rank structure, you know, and you can't subordinate. Hey, so I was like, you might as well get paid to be in one. That's what I'm telling you. Get paid to get in shape. Look, get paid to stay in shape. Get paid, you know, whatever. I was like, so I said, military is also. I said it's just like anything. College is not for everybody. Military is not for everybody. Law enforcement not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but you got to pick and choose your battles and say, hey, you don't knock it till you try it. Because I'll be the first to tell you, military was not my first option. You know what I'm saying? I was 20. I was 21 before I actually went to the military. I've been out of school 3 years.
Different. Yeah. So you was different. You had the mindset of, I've dealt with this civilian world and this working class. Exactly. I don't like this. You know, and whereas, you know, mine was opposite. I went in as an 18-year-old, basically. Right. I tell people all the time, your mind don't mature until you turn 25. Right. You know, I still had a young mind when I went in, and it was, you know, hey, you know, ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. And, you know, then when they did, you know, it was one of those things, you know, it was one of those things where, you know, I tell people, you know, people kind of respect the authority a little bit more when we joined up versus now. They look at it like, I listen to you and that type of thing.
Yeah, it's a different military, but I think some of the old schools are still in place some places. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's totally different. And you know, going back to my daughter, she was in the Navy, and one year she was having a hard time with some of her NCOs and everything, and she was like, "Dad, what you think about me getting out?" I don't.
And
I said, I don't. I said, she was like, what do you mean? I said, nowhere out here you're gonna have all the time off for your holidays for one. Then secondly, you call your chief and be like, "Hey chief, my son and my daughter sick. I need to take them to the hospital, or I need to take them to an appointment. My husband not feeling well. I need to take him to an appointment." You can't do that out here. They're gonna be like, "How much sick time you got? What you get?" You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. And I'm at that time, how much time did she have in at that time?
She had, I think it was about 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
like
and that's why I tell you.
I don't think about
I don't think about that. No, that's why I told her. I said, in the money that you making, the money you making there, and then with your TRICARE, your commissary, your housing allowances, and all this other stuff. I said, you get out, you're gonna be working 80 hours a week with a high school diploma to reach that same amount of money you're making, minus a lot of the benefits that you had.
That's the part that a lot of always say, the benefits outweigh everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I tell my kids, now they see me and their mom, we separated, but they see us as, oh, y'all overcame, I said, but you weren't there for when y'all were eating, getting food. We were sitting there looking at y'all like, looking at each other like, okay, we're gonna split this sandwich right here.
Hey,
That's why I
the
tell them,
Roman noodles, boy. The Roman.
They don't understand. I say, you see us now at the end of it, with the business side of it. And again, what another push for me was my support system. When you got your significant other saying, "Hey, you love this.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you do. I see you out there when you teaching people." Because again, I was the unofficial instructor, taking people out. We were going out. We were shooting, and all that. When I told them, I said, and she when I first got into law enforcement, shooting wasn't my thing. Guns wasn't my thing. I had one gun, that was my duty up, and that's all I needed.
Right.
But again, with COVID, you start buying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the gun. Let's see, the gun range was still open.
Right.
and that right there again, that's what kind of started piquing my interest into it more. Where I was going out shooting more. I was going do a whole lot of things that, again, like you said, you find yourself, you get in tune with yourself. That was a relaxation type of thing for me, because now I'm challenging myself, and the more I did it, the more I liked it. So I was like, people that won't even, when they would come to they hear me over there and they come over and peek, they don't, oh, well, how you do that? It'd be like older ladies, older gentlemen. It'd be sometimes people that's been shooting for a while. You make those connections, and that's why, again, that was that push.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, she bought my first gun.
Wow.
Like, hey, this is your training gun. Hey, here you go. I'm like, what? There you go.
Right. Thank you.
Do it now. Yeah, gotta do it now.
Yeah. That's good, man. Now, we going to the back to the military. You said you made a lot of good friends. You met a lot of good people. Do you still keep up with some of your buddies from basic training, so from the ship, things of that nature?
It's like when I first joined, I had 4 guys that I kind of, when I got on the ship that I linked up with. Out of those 4, I got 3 of them on Facebook, and we stay in touch constantly.
Right.
We shooting pictures back and forth when we were over in Dubai, when we was in Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, Turkey, France, different things, and they got pictures that I didn't have,
Right.
and I have pictures that they didn't have. So we stay in contact all the time.
Awesome.
And it was I got a group of guys that I actually linked up with when I was in A school.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in A school, that was in Millington.
Okay.
A lot of those guys, I got those on Facebook. So it's like I got a lot of people that, you know, that I stay in contact with. And then when I joined, I went on the buddy system.
Okay.
With it's gonna be 3 of them. But one of my friends, he went on and went and left. He left in July. Me and my other friend, we left in September.
Okay.
Matter of fact, September 9th.
Okay.
Was our we first enlisted.
Wow.
We joined the buddy system.
Right.
We stay in contact all the time. Matter of fact, his wife works at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
We chit chat all the time. But
gotcha.
I'm telling you, a lot of good people, a lot of good guys.
Yeah.
That hey, I wouldn't change nothing. You know,
right.
Yeah, it was rocky sometimes, but I wouldn't change making those connections and those interactions because, you know, like I say, people don't understand. Sometimes when I was in, you know, a lot of those guys didn't know that, you know, at the time we all needed each other for whatever reason. Then we get out, you know, we can all pass little tidbits on to each other to kind of get through the next because, you know, like I tell them, I say, yeah, we had some crazy stuff. And when we went, we were going, and we weren't actually on the ground, but we were in the battle zone. It was Operation Persian Gulf. We was right there, 92, 93, 94. We was all off the coast of Persian Gulf.
Oh, wow.
Iraq, Indian Ocean. We stayed out there. So
y'all look like sitting ducks out there because y'all in the middle of the water.
And that's when Saddam had launched all those mines in the Indian Ocean. Mm-hmm. And again, I tell people, I say, you're 18 years old, you're going through the Indian Ocean, and the chaplain, you know, hit that. It's just like at church. Mm-hmm. You start hearing church songs, and you sit there or a funeral, start hearing stuff, and all of a sudden it's like you start shaking. You ready to break down. Right. But every night, you know, all of us kind of linked together. Hey man, it's gonna be all right. You know, we're good. You know. That type of thing, and from that camaraderie, man, you can't beat it. That's one thing about the military. You meet your battle buddies, or your shipmates, and you get man. That's something. That's a bond. I don't care who come in. They can't. Nobody can beat that.
Yeah, ain't gonna break broken, man. Because it's like you said, it's totally different. Those type of bonds, man, and unless you've been through it, you don't understand it.
Tell people I got brothers. It's like, you know, even other fellow veterans. Like I say, you, Brother Hooker,
right?
You know, y'all guys. It's like even though we were on the same branch,
right? We
know the structure because we was in the military.
Exactly.
That's our common bond. And then it's like, you know, you click because it's like, oh, hey, this guy, he knows some things. And then, you know, you start looking at, if you look at everybody's background, it was one of those things where you need a single mother. They had you come from a single mother household, single parent household, you know, those type of things. You had kids early.
Right.
Everybody kind of linked up. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you know the struggle.
Look, similar stories across the board.
Yeah.
Look, shout out to Hooker. I call him Debo. We go to the same church. Hey, I call him Debo. I said, that joker, man, you eat all the time. And look, that joker, every time he come around, he always, man, I'm gonna get them shoes from you. He like, what size shoes? But yeah, man, that's my boy, man. I love that guy, man. He always, every time I said, look, Hooker, man, you gonna talk to him today, tomorrow, 3 months from now, same person. Even when I could tell that brother might be going through something, man, he the same person.
Same person. You'll never know.
You never know.
But again, I guess that's an attribute to that military service.
Exactly.
You going through, which that's something you touched on it. As far as us as being veterans, we hold a lot of stuff in.
Right.
For one, because of being a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
Two, because of where we grew up and how we grew up.
Exactly.
And three, you know just well as I do, us as being men and black men, it was always, you better not cry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't break down.
Right.
You know, you always been pushed to be, you're the head of the household.
Exactly.
You know, if you was a son and you had a mother and you got sisters, you gonna carry the household.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We depending on you.
Right.
You know, you're the man of the house.
Right.
You know, that's what people don't understand, man. And in our community, no matter what, you know, you don't get the opportunity. Just being a man, period. You don't really get the opportunity to have a breakdown.
Yeah.
You know, you always got to be the one, whatever's going on around you, like you said with Hooker, he always seemed to, he's that same person. Mm-hmm. You probably had some things going on, mm-hmm. which we talked about a couple of them when you were working at the hospital, mm-hmm. but you kept going. People didn't know it. Right. You know, I had stuff going on. Yeah. Nobody knew it. You kept pushing forward. You know, and that's I guess that's the sign of the strength of us, period. Because that's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Like you said, but when you can find somebody you can kind of relate to, you can kind of have that vulnerability moment, you know what I'm saying? But look, it takes some building up. But once you can find that vulnerable moment, then to that you could be like, hey, bro, I'm going through this, you know, this is what's going on in my life right now. And I say a lot of brothers, you know, sometimes we got to relax on that, you know, and I definitely see it in our military brothers of all races. But like I said, from us, you know, we it's been embedded in us since day one. But some of them, it got embedded in them in the military, and then they don't know how to let it go, you know what I'm saying, or talk it out, you know what I'm saying? It's tough. But yeah, man, look, I appreciate our conversation, bro. And look, we about to wind it up here. But I always like for my guests to drop a knowledge, drop some a little gem for anybody that's out there, black, white, indifferent, military or not, you know, just drop some knowledge, some gems to help them be a better person in our community.
But don't focus so much on what you can't do and what you don't have. I say that because it's a lot of times, you know, like with my organization, I got a nonprofit as well. I take people out for free and teach them sometimes. Like I got certain days where we go out for free. My ammunition, my money, but I want people to be safe. You're gonna have it, be safe. You know, you think about it. That one person or two people, three people that go out and they get that free lesson. The next time, hey, I want to go out. I'm gonna come to you again. Mm-hmm. Also, don't think that you can't do anything. Mm-hmm. Always, again, know that, hey, get your talent, whatever your talent is, expand on it. Don't go with you can't do this. Because I heard a lot of people say, you can't do this, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. But always have that you can, and God first. I'm just gonna put that out there. Mm-hmm. Keep him in mind, mm-hmm. you know, with anything you do. And a lot of times, you know, even when you be going through, put him first. Put him first. You're gonna be all right. He gonna always take care of you.
Right. And I appreciate this conversation, man. Man, look, you look, as you just said, put God first. I think you blessed a lot of people with this conversation, you know, because, you know, man, it's a conversation that a lot of people don't, you know, you don't have, you know what I'm saying? And you know, to be transparent, I appreciate you. You know, look, I asked and you like, boom, Johnny on the spot, like, yo, I'm ready. when you ready. You know what I'm saying?
When you ready, man.
Like you like when you ready.
You know,
Put the ball back in my court. And I appreciate you, the transparency and looking forward to attending one of your classes, man. Because like I said, if I don't get a chance to come anytime soon, I'm definitely try to get somebody over there. I always share your posts. And like I said, much success to you. Much success to you and yours, man. Because just in the field you dealing with, I know you catch it on both sides, bro. And you got to be strong. You know what I'm saying? Because I know sometimes our community look at it as, and that's why I tell a lot of them. Because I was telling somebody with the fire department, I'm like, why is no brothers with the fire department? You know what I'm saying? and they complain about. I was like, so instead of complaining, join, understand what's going on. I said, until you can't complain about something until you know what's really on the inside of things and understand. So, and the camp told me how much here in Pitt County, in Greenville City, how much the firefighters work. Make.
Nice.
Look, and I was like, hold on, 18, and the driver's like, and he passed it. I was like, really? That's it? Man. He was like, he's like, man, he said, athlete that's halfway decent could pass the training. And I was like, word. You know what I'm saying? So I be telling the young cats, I said, you limit yourself by what other people say instead of what you see and what you could possibly be. Like I said, sometimes my dream killers are at our home. You know what I'm saying, man? It's like, it's like, you don't want to be that, you don't want to do that, but that's the only way change gonna come. We start being indoors that we're not used to being in, and that's the only way change gonna come.
And there you go.
Yeah, man.
Said a whole mouthful. People like I say, just like with the military, law enforcement. Oh, they doing this, they doing that. Why we don't have any black? Why we don't do this? I said it's because, for one, a lot of people, they've already been turned to the point where if you a cop, especially a black cop, they already look at you. Oh, you're a sellout. You this, you that. Mm-hmm. It's not that. It's a profession. It's just again, it's a job you get into. And I tell everybody, I want to do it, and when I got into it, I always said, I'm going to always stay true to myself. Mm-hmm. If you treat people how you want to be treated, can't nobody say nothing. Can't nobody say nothing against you. Anybody that I've had to arrest, anybody that ever had, the thing is, like I tell them, it's never personal. It's always business.
Right.
You got to be in it to understand it.
Right.
And when you get in, the more you get in, the more you understand, the more you're educated. The more you get educated, the more you can do your job to your efficiency. I try to recruit people all the time. Man, 21, come on. I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. I don't think I can do that. Again, I just say it. Don't think what you can't do. You can do anything you want to do.
Right.
It's just depending on what you want to do.
Exactly. Like I said, once again, man, I appreciate you, brother. And then to the audience out there, hey, don't forget to like, share, follow, leave your comments. And hey, if you're in the Pitt County area, surrounding areas, hey, reach out to my boy for that training. Hey, I'm quite sure you know what he's doing. Hey, look, but look, on this note, before we go, I said, hey, y'all run up on him now. Don't let that smile fool you now. You better be right with him. Hey, all of them know, all of them say for the people out there, y'all run into him in the area. Don't let that smile fool you. Be right when you approach this guy now. He about his business. Don't let the smile fool you. Don't let the Kool-Aid fool you.
There we go. Well, we get you.
All right, man. Hey, appreciate you, bro.
Man.
All right, till next time, people. Take care. Peace.